numbers either. So, let's get started. Grab your notebooks, enjoy the music. We just listened to the music. We are beginning officially now. So, we start every webinar with our Safe Sports slide. Volleyball Canada and the Ontario Volleyball Association is committed to practicing safe sport and ensuring our athletes are provided with a safe and healthy environment in which to learn and develop. Safe sport practices are the responsibility of all members, including coaches, parents, athletes, and even recruiters like ourselves. Everyone here on the Six Pack team and coaches play a vital role in like them. I want to make sure your best interest is in place as a role model so that you have a safe path to success. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping, guys. You will notice that the chat box is actually disabled. We want to make sure that everyone's journey is their own journey. So if you do have any questions, they are fully welcome. Just put them into the Q&A box instead. Okay, so the Q&A box for questions, we will get to them probably at the end of the webinar. And yeah, all of your questions are definitely welcomed. So, who is Six Pack Recruiting Sports? Well, we have our founder and lead recruiter, of course, Dale-Ann Melnick. She is the recruiting guru. I mean, aside from her own playing career as a two-time SEC champion and with the University of Georgia and her coaching career on the international stage and with U Sports, she's had a ton of experience identifying and recruiting athletes to their dream schools. So, and then you have me, of course. I am Lexi Banfi. I am the marketing and website and athlete support for all the athletes that we work with. We've got Dallas, who is Dale's son. He comes on once in a while, works with the boys, and also does some data research and other marketing items. And then we've got Chrissy, who is one of our recruiters primarily for the US athletes. We've got Grace, who does some athlete support with our French athletes. And then we've got Kaylee Glago here on the line. She's one of our brand new recruiters, and we're super excited to have her online. So, Kaylee, if you want to come on and introduce yourself and unmute yourself and just let us know, like, what is your experience? Um, I mean, what's your playing career like? Just tell us a little bit about yourself and I guess your recruiting journey and all that stuff too, and why you decided to join Six Pack, the Six Pack team.
Sure. My name's Kaylee. I played at Pac-Man Volleyball Club from 13U to 18U. I really fell in love with beach volleyball when I was around 15U and decided that's what I wanted to pursue going forward. And was looking at schools. It was really difficult for me just coming from Canada and going to the NCAA. Everything was so new. Not a lot of people had done it before me. So kind of looked around, obviously made some mistakes, but I went to the University of Hawaii for 4 years, had an amazing, amazing time, got a full ride, and became a two-time All-American. And now I play on the full-time beach national team, actually in Mexico right now,
Nice.
at a tournament. So yeah, that's kind of, and I wanted to join Six Pack just because I think Canadian athletes are kind of undervalued and
Hmm.
sometimes don't really know where to start just because it's not the same as the States. Like sports maybe aren't the biggest priority, which is a good thing. Obviously, academics need to come first, but going to the States is pretty difficult and it can be hard to navigate. So having a company like Six Pack just helps lead the way and has all the connections that you need. And I really wanted to be part of something that helps athletes reach their full potential without any barriers.
I love that. And yes, like totally agree. Canadian athletes, they've got so many extra hurdles than the American athletes do, especially if they want to play down south, right? So, I mean, amazing career that you've had and that you currently have. And I love that you're so athlete focused and you're just like, hey, I want I want the other athletes to be able, like you want to mentor the athletes who are up and coming, right? Who will
Mhm.
eventually take your place on the international court. So I love that so much and can't wait for just for you to mentor so many athletes and what's going to come of that. So, but we'll talk a little bit about Dale's background specifically and how she got started with six pack recruiting or how she did start six pack recruiting. So, in her playing career, she was a two-time SEC champion with the University of Georgia way back when. I won't tell you the date because I'm pretty sure she'll pull out her plastic spoon and hit me until I die. Don't tell her I said that. But and then she actually came back home and played at York University where she was a two-time OUA champion as well. So all in all, her playing career collegiately was very, very successful, clearly. And then she moved on to play 10 years with the Canadian Beach Volleyball FIVB Tour. So definitely paved the way for a lot of athletes, especially women in sports, right? She was a product of Title IX and really paved the way for a lot of beach athletes as well. So hats off to Dale for all of her hard work in her playing career. But moving forward to her coaching career, so she coached over 20 years with different U Sports programs with Western University. She was the head coach, assistant coach with Guelph, head coach again with Brock University. And then during that time as well, she coached with Team Ontario and 10 years coaching with Volleyball Canada. So these pictures here, they come from when she was head coaching with the youth national team in 2018 at NORCECA Championships, and I mean led Team Canada to winning silver, and it was a really big moment because then it qualified for Canada as world champions, right? Would qualify them for the world championships the following year. So she went back the following year as the assistant coach with the junior national team at world championships. This was in Egypt, actually. So she got to climb a pyramid and do all those cool things. And this is part of what we love just about the volleyball community. And Kaylee, you can attest to this, like a super small community globally, but you get to like you've experienced some really, really cool things, right? That other athletes or other just kids that age probably wouldn't. So definitely some unique experiences. And then moving on from that, she was the team lead with the senior national team and was kind of on that Olympic trajectory. Wow, that's a hard word to say. For a little bit as their follow-up team lead, but and then lead coach with Canada Elite in 2024 and 2025 with a team going over to Shanghai, China for their Future Stars event. And again, really cool experiences. I got to go to China with Dale last time, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I had a time of my life. So, but how she got into recruiting specifically and with six pack recruiting. So, Dale retired a couple times from her coaching gigs. Retired the first time in 2019 after World Championships. But then she came back and kind of did a little bit and then retired fully in 2022. But throughout that time, as she was leading up to her retirement, she really was pondering over, what to do after retirement. What do you do after coaching, right? Coaching, it kind of defines you so much as a person, and she really needed to figure out what did that look like in the next years, and really just identifying the athletes and getting them recruited to their dream schools. That was her favorite part about coaching was recruiting athletes. So, and then she found out over the years, Canada really didn't have a recruiting support system like they did in the US. Initially, that's what she thought. She thought that the US had it all figured out, but Canada didn't have that support. And so we wanted to be able to give that support to the athletes and really educate the athletes on what's in our own backyard as well as going to the US. But then as we were going through this process and learning more about US athletes as well, we understood, oh, wait a second, none of these athletes have a good understanding about what the recruiting process is and what it entails. So we'll talk a little bit about that tonight. But yeah, after 25 years of identifying high performance athletes, this is when she founded Six Pack Recruiting in 2018. So since 2018, we've helped hundreds, honestly, countless athletes commit to their dream schools. And these dream schools, they span from every direction, every conference, every division. Our goal is to find the athlete the right fit, not just a fit, not just to check off that box and saying, okay, I've signed to a school. We want to make sure that we're finding the right school for them academically, athletically, socially, the whole culture, environmentally, the whole picture. We want a win-win situation for everyone. So we do recruit for women's and men's indoor volleyball. We recruit for beach volleyball. That's why we've got brought Kaylee on, of course, as the beach volleyball guru. And we also recruit in Canada and the US, right? So we've garnered again over $20 million in athletic scholarships to six pack athletes, which is something we're super, super proud of. And we want you guys to be a part of that, right? We just having a lot of athletes have this misconception of, oh, well, if I get a free profile on a website, that's what's going to get you recruited. That's not what gets you recruited, and that's not what earns you an athletic scholarship. There's a lot of work that goes behind that. There's a lot of, blood, sweat, and tears, not just on the court, but, just building these relationships with coaches as well. And that's what earns you all of these things, right? So, where have we committed some of our athletes? I mean, this is just a small list of so many schools, but you can see UBC, Queen's University, High Point, Eastern Kentucky. We've got Long Beach, USC. Oh my gosh, UNCW, Texas, oh, it's like so many schools, so many schools. So Texas A&M, Corpus Christi to be specific. And then you'll see here CCAA schools as well, right? So again, we want to make sure that we're finding athletes the right fit, whether their dreams are to play at, the top programs here in Canada or in the United States, or if they want just their local CCAA school in their own backyard. As long as it's the right fit, we are fully supportive. So we are super proud of all of our athletes who do sign with their dream schools, and we celebrate from the rooftops. And it's one of my favorite things when I get a phone call from Dale, and it's like a three-way call from Dale and the athlete, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Lexi, guess what? I just committed to XYZ school." So it's just like such a good moment. So how or do you actually know how to start the recruiting process? How would you start the recruiting process? This is the number one question that parents ask me all the time is, how ChatGPT tells me that you just email a coach. But what do you write in that email? How do you actually email the coach? Do you know which coach to email with, multiple coaches on their roster? What do you say in that email? Do coaches know who you are? That's another misconception. If you're the best on your team, coaches are going to know who you are automatically. That's not necessarily the case. And we'll talk about, let's use nationals as an example. Nationals is coming up. It's one of the very few events where all the athletes in Canada can get in a room together and all the coaches can get in a room together. But there are thousands of athletes that these coaches now need to watch. They don't go into it blindly. They have their own watch lists. So we need to make sure that you guys have the strategy in place to get on those watch lists. And that's what we do. Is your social media in check? I'll talk about this a little bit more throughout the webinar tonight, but we want to use social media as a tool, not the only tool for the recruiting process. It's not what's going to get you recruited, but use it as a tool to get in front of coaches a little bit more. But be careful because if it's not in check, if you're posting inappropriate things, it will break your recruiting, okay? It will break any opportunity that you have out there. Do you know what division would be perfect? We need to figure out what that lane is, right? So I know a lot of athletes have these amazing dreams because they see all this romanticized videos on TikTok. That's just not reality. So what are you as an athlete willing to put into the effort and the work behind the actual recruitment? And Kaylee, maybe you want to talk about this a little bit with your journey because I mean, two-time All-American, that doesn't just happen out of luck.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really important to find the right fit for you and not just go somewhere because someone else is going there or because, yeah, you've seen like a video. Lots of the time that there's so much more behind a video than what meets the eye. And finding the right fit for you is really important. And that's where I think Six Pack comes into play perfectly because they know, like, we have the connections, we know the coaches, we know these programs,
Hmm.
and we can help you find that fit that aligns with your values, your goals, your aspirations. And everyone's goals is going to be different. And I think it's important as, a young athlete to make sure that you're not being swayed by a video or what a teammate is doing and finding what works for you and what, you want to do, which is also difficult being a young athlete, but
Yeah.
keeping those doors open and also having, some reflection on what you want your future to look like.
Yeah, totally. Like it again with the social media and just those those videos on TikTok, it's just a glimpse of what's actually reality, right? So again, what division would be perfect? And like Kaylee was alluding to, everyone's journey is their own. So don't compare yourself. Again, that's why we don't have the chat box open because we want everyone's journey to be their own. And if someone's asking a specific question, we don't want anyone to be kind of afraid to ask that question as well. We're also not going to call you out first name, last name. So don't worry about that. Moreover, how have you registered for any of the eligibility centers, right? Whether it's NCAA or U Sports, this is an important step in the recruiting process to make sure that coaches can track you in your recruiting process as well. Have you taken care of your academics? This is so understated and so incredibly important. No matter if you have a verbal offer that you've accepted, you still need to apply to that school and get in for your program. So don't let your academics slide and just focus on the volleyball piece. Are there scholarships available? Yes, for sure, on both sides of the border. If you're hoping to stay in Canada, there's still money to be had and still money to be given out by coaches here in Canada as well. It doesn't look the same as the US, but it's still very comparable compared to how much we pay for tuition, right? What not to do in the recruiting process? Well, first of all, like I already said, ignoring your academics is not the, the way to start, right? If you're really letting your academics slide, this is really it's going to put a wrench in your whole plan. So a lot of athletes, yes, they want their path to look like from point A to point B, and that's it. Just one quick line, right? But that's not the way it happens with a lot of athletes. Actually, one of our very first athletes that we worked with, she failed in her on the academic piece. She failed one of her math courses, I think, in grade 9, and because of that, she was not able to play for her dream NCAA program, which she was accepted into. But once they found out, oh, well, you don't have the academics for it, can't work out. So we want to make sure that every athlete's on track, and part of that is the academic piece. Waiting too long, right? Yes, you can be recruited if you start in grade 11 and grade 12. You're not too late to the process, but starting earlier definitely gives you an advantage because you're building those relationships with your coach, with your future coach. So, and think about the whole recruiting process in that way. You are building your relationship with your future coach. So when you start in grade 9 or grade 10, which is the most ideal time to start the recruiting process, you have that time to actually build and get to know, okay, who is this coach? Who are all these coaches that I'm speaking to? What are these institutions like? Some of our athletes, they've emailed 80 schools. How do you keep track of that within a 1, 2 year span, right? So having that length of time really, really gives you an advantage and help with that. As well as the academic piece, that's another thing too. Here in Canada, grade 12 is that magic year academically, and a lot of people don't realize in the US, the academic side, it starts in grade 9. So again, waiting a little bit too long can really hinder you in that way because then we want to make sure that your academics are in check so that you can graduate with everything that you need to play NCAA level volleyball, okay? Overlooking communication. I mean, this seems pretty simple. It seems like a given, but not responding to coaches and not being professional with any interactions, that's not going to get you recruited, right? I would say so, I would say any athlete who doesn't sign with their dream school with us, the main reason why they don't sign with their dream school is because they are not engaged with the coach. They're not engaged with the coach. They're not engaged with us. It's really hard for us to advocate for an athlete when they've never responded to an email from us and to coaches, right? So again, coaches, they're trying to develop trust in the athlete because this is someone that they have to trust on the court to win them championships. So all of that communication needs to be a bond, okay? So they need to be engaged in the process. And again, unprofessional interactions, I mean, this could be as simple as you, treating an email as a text message, right? Not having proper email etiquette. If you're sending emojis inappropriately or not even giving any signature or hi coach, how are you today? This is the reason why I'm emailing. It's not going to work out, okay? Lastly, being unrealistic about your school options. We already kind of talked about this, but I can't tell you how many times athletes have come to us with just unrealistic dreams because they do watch those TikTok videos, right? So having a clear understanding as to what programs you're looking at, not just athletically, but academically as well, right? Where is your academic lane? Where is your athletic lane? Let's make sure that we marry all of those together and find you that right fit. I want to give you guys just a second and look over this image right now. I know it's football, but you just take a second and let it resonate for you. So I'm just gonna take a sip of water and let you guys read that. All right. So yes, if my high school football career is over, high school volleyball career is over, if I had another chance, I would study harder, take my ACT or SAT test seriously, complete all my assignments, study for finals, listen to my coaches and parents. I would train harder freshman, sophomore, juniors, or grade 9, grade 10, grade 11. Take advantage of your chances because it is sooner than you realize. And that is so true. I know that I say that the most ideal time to start your recruiting process is grade 9 or 10. And you might think, well, that's really early. That seems really early. As a parent, my kids are still kids. But really, these 4 years go by so quickly, and we do not want to miss out on any opportunities. And we want to make sure you are in check every step of the way. So let's talk a little bit about what the recruiting process looks like, what you actually need for specific goals. So NCAA, let's start there. NCAA schools, what are your opportunities? Well, there are, over 300 Division One schools, 300 Division Two schools, over 400 Division Three schools. NAIA and junior colleges are really fantastic opportunities for athletes, especially now because it doesn't take any of their eligibility time. So that straight line path that I was talking about before might not happen with some of the our athletes, right? There's a lot of chaos with the transfer portal and all this stuff. I won't get into it too much right now, but all of that causes a little bit of chaos, especially for international athletes. So having someone on your side to say, okay, maybe let's look at smaller schools, NAI or junior college that's the right fit for you, and then you can move up to a Division One. Let's look at that path. You want someone in your corner who is knowledgeable enough to know what that path actually looks like instead of you doing it yourself, right? Are there scholarships available? 100%. There are scholarships available, especially Division One. There are 12 full ride scholarships to be spread across, however the coaches desire that, however they want it to happen. But Division Two and Three, not as many, but there are definitely other opportunities. And again, this is part of working with Six Pack Recruiting and how much knowledge we have about every single coach and every single institution because in the US, that's all institution based, whether they can give academic scholarship, whether they can't, because we're out of state athletes. So all of that is very selective, and we have that knowledge and can help out our athletes and do help out our athletes in those regards and really make those negotiations at the end of the day. What do you need as an athlete to be able to be eligible to play NCAA? Number one, graduate from high school. It seems pretty basic, but it's true. Graduate from high school. You need to pass your NCAA Core 16 courses. There's a specific list, specific timing, and how you have to take these classes. Again, it starts in grade 9, so you don't want to miss out on that. There is a minimum GPA and what you need to be able to be eligible to play. It is a 2.3. That's not very high. And because it's not very high, other programs might have a higher GPA required for their specific program. Again, that's something that Six Pack works with athletes in terms of, well, does that specific volleyball program need a 3.0 or higher in order to play? SAT or ACT requirements, these are actually waived from the NCAA altogether thanks to COVID. They haven't brought it back yet. Hopefully they won't. We will see. However, if you're planning to apply to a highly competitive academic school, you might need that in your pocket, right? Or that might be a game changer as the differentiating factor in your advantage, right? So if you have high SAT scores and someone else who's got the same competitive level as you and same athlete as you in every which way, but your academics are higher than theirs, or your SAT is higher than their SAT score, you're the one who's going to get recruited. So we want to make sure we're on track with that. Again, NCAA Eligibility Center registration, you definitely need to register for the Eligibility Center. We help walk our athletes through that whole process. Now, what about U Sports? There are tons of opportunities in U Sports as well. Not as many institutions as in the US, but definitely tons of opportunities. So, of course, here are different conferences: Canada West, OUA, AUS, RSEQ. If you speak French and you're fully bilingual, or you strictly speak French, you can go play for an RSEQ school. Are there scholarships available? Yes. So scholarships, what that looks like here in Ontario, you can earn up to $5,000 in athletic scholarship per academic year. Okay, outside of the province of Ontario, you could be looking up to full tuition and fees. It really depends on the province. So again, it's not as much dollar value as maybe an athlete would get in the US, but it also doesn't cost us $100,000 a year to go to school, right? So very comparable. If your school is being paid for, hey, your school's being paid for. Let's not, I mean, why not play for, University of Alberta if my schooling's being paid for? So definitely some great opportunities. Other opportunities that a lot of athletes pass up is the CCAA, right? Our Collegiate Athletic Association. So again, fantastic opportunities. There's scholarship money to be had there as well. On the academic side, it might be a better fit for a lot of athletes. Frankly, I went to university for business. It was a great program. It was the right fit at the time. But back in the day, they didn't offer full 4-year degree program at colleges, at the college level, whereas now they do, right? So it really depends on the program and what your academic and career goals are, I guess, in that regard. I mean, if you're planning to be a brain surgeon, no, collegiate volleyball and collegiate academics are not going to work out for you. But there are other programs that might be the perfect fit for you and your athletes. Now, social media, again, I already alluded to this. Be careful what you put on your social media. Use it as a tool. Don't use it as the only tool for your recruiting. So the reason why I say be careful what you put on your social media. Listen, when you're getting recruited, these coaches, they have a brand to adhere to, okay? The school has a brand that they need to adhere to. They have spent years, decades, sometimes some schools in the US are centuries old, right? They have spent all of that time building their identity, preserving their reputation, and building their future. If they invest in an athlete, in a student athlete, and that student athlete is posting photos or videos of them underage drinking, making hand gestures, swearing, doing inappropriate things, they're going to pull that scholarship so fast from you, so fast. And it's happened to a couple of our athletes. So we don't want this to happen to anyone, regardless of if you're a six pack athlete or not. We want to make sure that, you know, kids, you have to realize everyone is watching. Nothing is private. So make sure that anything you're posting is appropriate. Even if your accounts are private, make sure it's appropriate because coaches, they can get software to bypass all of that privacy. So, not to scare you, but use it as a tool. So, what does Six Pack do for athletes? So, Six Pack recruiting, our process, I mean, we've had 80, been consistent with an 85% success rate through and through. We offer group sessions for our athletes as well as personal one-on-one recruiting support. So, 3 hours of one-on-one recruiting support with Kaylee, with Dale, with Chrissy, extensive school research. We've actually moved our profiles onto this new platform that is so great for the school research. I can't even tell you. And maybe I should have shown it, but it is so extensive. You get access to thousands of institutions and thousands of coaches. It's really that like detailed. So your six pack recruiting profile on our website as well as coach advocacy. So that's one thing that we do that no one else really does is we have built up these relationships, and some of them, I mean, some of these relationships that Dale has span 40 years long. And Kaylee, you can probably attest to this too. As you're going through your career in volleyball from, playing club to where you are now, you build all of these relationships with with coaches, with people who probably weren't planning on coaching and then end up coaching and all that stuff. So all of these coach connections are personal relationships. They're not just us cold calling a coach, although we do that too sometimes. But it's usually coming backed by another coach who have said, yes, six pack is the real deal, right? So anytime we do call a coach, it's because we have the right fit athlete for them. We don't send them like a list of 100, 200 athletes and say, hey, coach, take a look at all of our athletes, see who fits, right? We want to make sure, again, we are finding the right fit, win-win situation for everyone. So when we advocate on behalf of an athlete, it actually matters. It actually matters. They actually listen. So, yeah, we do. I mean, we have a really cool program. It's all education based. We want to make sure that the athletes are leading the process. Because ultimately this is their journey. This is again their relationship with their future coach, and we want to make sure that they're learning all of these life skills. And as parents, your job isn't to go email the coaches. Your job isn't to go, have all the communication with coaches. So we want to make sure that your recruiting journey is tailored to you. So yes, in the group sessions, we teach kind of the more generalized items, but then the personal one-on-one recruiting support otherwise is very focused so that we make sure every recruiting journey is their own. So, Kaylee, would you like to jump in with anything? Any insight about your specific recruiting process? And guys, if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A box. And if you're ready to get started with us, I welcome you to scan that QR code as well. Kaylee.
Yeah, my recruiting process was much more difficult than it had to be, I'd say, just because I didn't really know about six pack. And I think Canada has such an untapped market with really dedicated athletes that the states actually, I can speak for the NCAA, like lots of coaches love Canadian athletes just because of how
Mhm.
hardworking we are and how dedicated we are, and usually how smart we are as well.
Yeah, I was
Just
gonna
that,
say academically, we have,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
we've got the
we're like
brains
because our academic standards are a little higher
a
than
little higher.
most places in the States, so that definitely comes to our advantage. But just getting like I think it can be really scary for a lot of people to kind of start this process, especially if you're young, just like not knowing where to start and not knowing when to start. And like Lexi said, it's better early than late because in the States, like I mentioned earlier, athletics is very, very important at most NCAA schools with high performance sports programs. and they plan years in advance
Hmm.
their rosters. Not to say that, you're too late if you're a 17U, 18U athlete, but it obviously helps to start earlier because just getting your name out there and putting yourself out there, the coaches will have you on the radar for their rosters. And, like oh, we know where a setter or a blocker is leaving, we need to replace, right? That it is a business also kind of for them. So
Yeah,
they need,
totally.
athletes for their programs to succeed. And I think, um, yeah, having been in the NCAA for 4 years, making a lot of really good connections through just being hopefully a good person and hardworking. Like I can attest to the love for Canadian athletes, and I want to help people get there. And yeah,
Yeah, I love it. Kaylee, what age group were you when you started your recruiting process?
I think I was in grade 9 when I started my
Okay.
process, but I will say at that time, grade 9 is I was 14, so it was 2016.
Okay.
And there wasn't a lot of athletes going into the beach world in the NCAA. There's a few like in indoor, some like it just wasn't as popular. Obviously, every year there's just more and more exposure and more people going to the NCAA. But yeah, 2016 was when I started, which was like I was like me and my beach partner were like the first ones on our team to kind of start that process. And then I was like telling my teammates, hey, like you're good enough to do this as well. Like if this is what you want, don't think it's out of reach. You
Yeah.
know, I think a lot of people, like even myself, I thought it was impossible to go to the NCAA and
Yeah.
play Division One. It was just, it was kind of just a pipe dream. And then
Yeah.
starting that process, while it was hard, it showed me like, okay, like, I'm getting offers, like I can actually do this, and then committed either my grade 9 or 10 year. Um,
Okay.
and like it was really cool. And it's funny because when I was like 13, my beach partner at the time went to Hawaii and got me a University of Hawaii sweater. And she
Oh
gave it
my
to me
gosh.
and she said, "We're gonna go to the University of Hawaii together."
Oh my gosh.
And
I
I was
love
like,
that.
okay, like nice story, but probably not. And then come to find out, she didn't end up going to the University of Hawaii, but she went to another NCAA school.
Oh my
And
gosh.
but
That's
yeah,
like it's like
my
fate
dreams
for
did come
you.
true, I guess. So
I love that. I love that story so much. It's like fate, you know? It's like you were meant to
sorry, I
be
think
there.
we lost you,
Oh,
Lexi.
can you hear me? Can everyone hear me? Can anyone hear me? Hello, hello. It might have been, oh, I think we lost Kaylee, but that's okay. Well, everyone, have a great night. If you're ready to get started, scan the QR code. Let's get you set up with a call with either myself, Dale, or Kaylee, and let's get you set up, especially before provincials and nationals championship season. There's going to be a ton of coaches at these events. And like I said, they come in with a plan. They come in with a plan, and they're always there asking us, who should I watch today? So, we want to make sure that you are on those watch lists for sure, and yeah, and get you started with your recruiting career the right way the first time. So scan the QR code, and we'll get you set up with either a call with myself, Dale, or Kaylee. And yeah, have a great night, Kaylee. I see you're back
Sorry, yeah,
on.
sorry about that.
That's okay. The
Wi-Fi's not
internet in
too good.
Mexico is probably not the best.
Yeah,
I feel that. I understand that too well. Well, Kaylee, thank you so much for coming on tonight. And
of
we're
course.
going to send out this recording as well for all of you guys who are online tonight, but for all of you who are not as well. So can't wait to get started with you guys and working with you, and wishing you guys a great Wednesday evening. So awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Of
Look
course, of
forward to
course. Bye.